My baby's coming. I figured you'd want to celebrate with a little gift, say $15,000. I nearly dropped my phone at the audacity in my sister Eliza's voice. After everything she'd put me through, now she had the nerve to ask me for money? You can't be serious, I said, gripping the phone tightly. You honestly think I'm going to give you $15,000? Eliza laughed lightly as if this were all some joke between sisters. Oh, come on, Arya. I know we've had our differences, but blood is thicker than water, right? It's your niece or nephew. I bit my tongue, a dozen scathing retorts on the tip of it. Eliza, my younger sister by barely a year, had always been jealous of me. It twisted into something dark when I started dating Max in college. I thought he loved me, until Eliza seduced him away in my senior year. They rushed into a Vegas wedding shortly after. The ultimate betrayal. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my anger. I'm sorry you seem to be struggling, but I cannot personally loan you any money. I have my own family to think of now. My husband Lucas walked into the kitchen just then, our 5-year-old Lily jumping into his arms with a squeal. They were my world now. Lucas raised an eyebrow at my tense expression. Who's that on the phone? He mouthed. I mimed a money gesture, and he rolled his eyes. Let me guess. Your sister? He'd never forgiven Eliza for what she did to me back then. Lucas was the one who helped me move on, who showed me what real love is. I nodded and put the phone on speaker. Eliza's sugary voice filled the room. Least you could do is send a nice gift for the baby shower. Lucas set Lily down gently. Why should we celebrate someone who caused you so much pain? He crossed his arms. What's brought this on anyway? You haven't spoken to Eliza in years. You're right, I said firmly into the phone. We wish you well, Eliza, but we cannot assist you financially or otherwise. Her tone turned icy. Can't or won't? Don't pretend you're still not angry. I married Max. She snorted. So petty, Arya. I stiffened, the years-old wound throbbing as painfully as ever. Lucas gestured for the phone, and I passed it over wordlessly. Eliza, Lucas said in his detective voice, consider this a warning. Do not contact my wife again. He hung up with an air of finality before turning to me, his eyes gentle. Are you okay? I let out a shuddering breath as he pulled me close. I just wasn't expecting her to call like that. Asking for money? Unbelievable. Lily wandered over and hugged my legs. I leaned down to lift her up, pressing a kiss to her hair. No matter what Eliza said, I had everything I needed right here. I tucked Lily into bed that night, my mind still reeling from Eliza's call. Lucas came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. Penny for your thoughts, he murmured. I leaned back into him with a sigh. I just can't believe she would ask me for money after everything, and then to accuse me of still being jealous? Lucas turned me to face him, his eyes searching mine. Do you want to tell me exactly what happened between you two and Max? Maybe it would help to talk it through. I nodded slowly. Lucas knew the basics, that my sister stole my boyfriend and married him, but the full story was still painful to share. Eliza was always jealous of me growing up, I began quietly. I was the smart one, the popular one. Got better grades, more friends. When I started dating Max sophomore year of college, she hated that I had something she didn't. My hands curled into fists at the memory. She started hanging around more when Max came over, flirting with him right in front of me. He didn't even notice at first, but over time... I closed my eyes. I guess she wore him down. Next thing I knew, he's breaking up with me out of nowhere, and a week later I find out he eloped with Eliza in Vegas. Lucas shook his head, his jaw tight. I'm so sorry she put you through that, Arya. It's a horrible thing to have happen. I wiped away an angry tear. You know what the worst part was? She rubbed it in my face, kept telling me I was just jealous because she was better than me, happier than me. I let out a harsh laugh. I cut ties completely after the wedding. Hadn't talked to her since. Until today? Lucas finished grimly. He considered for a moment. What do you say we get a little justice, love? I peered up at him in surprise. What do you mean? His eyes glinted. As a detective, I have resources, contacts. What if we found out what Eliza was really up to these days? Because I guarantee you it's not all rosy. She wouldn't be asking you for money otherwise. Considering it sent a spike of anticipation through me. You mean, expose whatever shady stuff she and Max are doing? For revenge? Call it justice. Lucas tilted my chin up. Maybe it's time Eliza gets a taste of her own medicine. What do you say? I thought of the years of humiliation Eliza put me through, the self-righteous smirk I knew would be on her face at that baby shower, asking me for money as if she deserved a single cent. An unfamiliar anger flooded through me, but I didn't fight it. Instead, I turned to Lucas with blazing eyes. Let's do it. So what's the plan? I asked Lucas eagerly over breakfast the next morning. Lily was occupied with her coloring book, allowing us to scheme openly. Lucas sipped his coffee, his eyes glinting. I made a few discreet inquiries about Eliza and Max last night, still waiting to hear back from my contacts, but if there's dirt to be found, we'll dig it up. Excitement and nerves twisted in my stomach. I still can't believe we're actually doing this, snooping into their lives, looking for revenge. Lucas reached over to squeeze my hand. Hey, don't think of it like revenge. Think of it as veering their karma back on course. I let out a small laugh. Well, when you put it like that. I shook my head, growing serious once more. I meant what I said last night. Eliza has this coming. After the way she tormented me, manipulated Max. My voice hardened. She destroyed our relationship, my trust in people. She deserves justice. Too right, love. Lucas's phone buzzed and he glanced down. Well now, got an interesting tidbit already. I leaned forward eagerly as Lucas showed me the text. Got recent financials for E&M. Multiple weird payments from offshore accounts. Sending you records now. This could be promising. My pulse quickened. What exactly had Eliza and Max gotten themselves into? Just then, Lily popped up with her coloring book. All done with my picture, Mommy. Want to see? I smoothed down her hair with a smile. Of course, sweetheart. It's beautiful. Over her head, I met Lucas's gaze. Why don't you go play in your room for a bit, okay? Mommy and Daddy need to talk. She skipped off happily, and Lucas pulled out his laptop, opening the files his contact had sent. My nerves spiked at the walls of text full of numbers and transactions. Lucas gave a low whistle. Well, these two have certainly been busy. He scrolled through rapidly. Lots of money coming in from offshore accounts like my guy said, and... His brow furrowed. Money being transferred back out to various charities? What? I grabbed the laptop, skimming through the listed charities. Most seemed legitimate. Children's hospitals, wildlife conservation groups. Are they laundering money through charity donations? It's looking that way. Lucas's expression hardened. Pretty despicable, using good causes to hide illicit funds. He cracked his knuckles. Oh yes, these two are going down, but first... He reached over to grip my hand tightly. We're going to make them hurt. I have an idea. He outlined his plan, the baby shower gift that would set our revenge scheme in motion. My pulse pounded with anticipation, and I squeezed Lucas's hand fiercely. After today, Eliza's so-called perfect life would come crashing down, and this time, I would be the one looking down on her with satisfaction. Let's give my sister the rude awakening she deserves, I said, meeting Lucas's fiery gaze. The games were about to begin. The day of Eliza's baby shower arrived, my stomach churning with nerves and anticipation. You ready for this? Lucas asked as we got into his car, our gift for Eliza tucked carefully into a gift bag on the back seat. The contents, a $250 donation to a charity for fraud victims made in Eliza's name, would hopefully expose her shady financial activities to her inner circle. I smoothed my hands down my dress, taking a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. Let's do this. We pulled up outside the baby shower venue, an ostentatious mansion that set my teeth on edge. Of course, Eliza would choose somewhere flashy to impress her guests. We walked in to find the party already in full swing. I scanned the room, spotting Eliza holding court in the center, pregnancy glow on full display. My hands tightened around Lucas's arm, time for her charade to end. Eliza's face lit up with practiced delight when she saw us. Aria, you came, and you brought a gift, how sweet. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Max hovered behind her, face impassive. Congratulations, I forced out. Lucas just nodded, his dislike evident. An awkward silence fell. The other guests whispered curiously. Eliza laughed too loudly. Well, don't just stand there. Come in. We're about to open presents. We followed her to the gift table. I held my breath as she picked up our bag eagerly, no doubt hoping for a stack of cash. Her face froze as she read the charity certificate inside. What is this? She looked up sharply, the first cracks appearing in her polite facade. A donation, to help those harmed by fraud. Lucas said meaningfully, we thought you'd appreciate such a fitting gift. Eliza's eyes blazed. The party guests stared. What exactly do you mean by that? Eliza bit out. Max stepped forward, face darkening. Watch yourself, detective. It's interesting how defensive they're getting, no? Lucas interrupted loudly. Makes you wonder what they might be hiding. His eyes swept the silent crowd, planting seeds of doubt. Eliza advanced on us, sharp and swollen at once. How dare you try and ruin my shower with these disgusting insinuations? Her shrill voice echoed in the hushed room. I stepped forward, agnos of hurt and rage rising up. How dare you show up in my life again asking for money, as if you didn't steal everything from me? I seethed loudly. Gasps rose. Lucas restrained Eliza as she lunged at me. Her perfect facade lay shattered on the floor with our gift wrapping. Lucas eyed the stunned guests. We'll see ourselves out. Give our regards to the happy couple. He spun on his heel, whisking me away. We left chaos in our wake. Eliza screeching, guests questioning, her flawless reputation unraveling before my eyes. Finally, it was her turn to hurt. As Lucas and I drove away, I let out a shaky breath. Our revenge had only just begun, but seeing Eliza exposed and outraged felt sweeter than I imagined. She wasn't going to get away with this unscathed. For the first time, I truly believed that. And it was freeing. In the aftermath of the baby shower showdown, my phone blew up with angry voicemails from Eliza. I ignored each one, blood still buzzing from the confrontation. Lucas and I lay in bed that night rehashing the fallout. Did you see her face when she opened that gift? I said gleefully. She absolutely lost it. The perfect princess with a temper after all, Lucas chuckled. His phone rang suddenly. He sat up when he saw the caller ID. It's my financial crimes contact, Nadia. This could be promising. He answered, face intent, as Nadia spoke. I gnawed my nails nervously until Lucas ended the call with a satisfied grunt. Well, it seems our little stunt spurred some of the baby shower guests to come forward. Seems they've suspected Eliza and Max were up to shady business for a while now. I sat up eagerly. What did they say? Lucas's eyes gleamed. That right around the time Eliza got pregnant, Max came into a lot of money. New cars, new house, but no one knew where it came from, and some of the funds were apparently being laundered. I clenched my fists as anger flooded through me. Of course, Eliza would rope Max into illegal activity, too. Unbelievable. Is there proof? Nadia has a few leads. Lucas's expression turned steely. If those funds were obtained illegally, we'll find out. But my phone started vibrating with yet another call from Eliza. Before I could ignore, Lucas gently took my phone. Let's give your sister a taste of her own drama, shall we? He answered as I looked on nervously. Eliza, what can I do for you? Muffled shouting exploded through the speakers, and Lucas held the phone away from his ear with a smirk. I could make out a few screeched words. Destroy you! How dare? Won't get away. Lucas just chuckled darkly once the shouts quieted. Are you quite finished? Here's what's going to happen next, Eliza. I'm digging deep into yours and Max's affairs, and if I find even a hint of fraud, you'll have much bigger things to worry about than your reputation. He paused as Eliza tried to sputter out a response. Oh, save it. For Arya's sake, I've let you get away with enough. That ends now. His voice lowered to a steely promise. You'll be hearing from me soon. He ended the call on Eliza's screams. My heart pounded as I met his fiery stare. This is really happening. We could actually take her down. I gripped Lucas's hands tightly. Thank you for standing up for me. Finally facing my tormentor after all these years, I felt empowered, unstoppable with him by my side. Lucas caressed my face gently. Always, my love. Our family comes first now. His eyes hardened, and we protect our own. Over the next few weeks, Lucas dove headfirst into investigating Eliza and Max's financial history. He spent late nights poring over records, meeting with contacts, chasing leads. I caught him furiously scribbling on his conspiracy board when I went to call him for dinner. Any breaks in the case? I'd ask. Lucas would just tap his nose. It's all coming together, but we're going to need more concrete evidence soon. His eyes took on a ruthless glint that sent a secret thrill through me. Lucas was always professional and ethical in his police cases. Seeing him embrace such ruthless determination for my sake made me love him even more. Finally, one night over dinner, he beckoned me close with excitement gleaming in his eyes. I've found something big, he whispered so Lily wouldn't overhear. A paper trail linking Max to an offshore holding company that's definitely a front. Funds come flowing in weekly, get bounced around different charities, and wind up in Max and Eliza's pockets. I finished in disgust. So it is illegal money laundering. Lucas nodded. Almost certainly fraud. Could be dealing with some dangerous people, too. But, he held up a hand before I could interrupt, I haven't found concrete proof yet, just hints. His expression grew serious. We'll need access to Max's home office, his computer. It's risky, but if I can get physical evidence, accounts, transactions, contacts, we can take it to the police and blow this whole operation open. Apprehension and excitement dueled within me. Like breaking and entering? I clarified nervously. Lucas squeezed my hands, eyes blazing. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. Think of Lily. At her name, my heart steeled itself. I would do anything to protect our daughter. Okay, let's do this. We made plans for Lucas to sneak into Max's office the next day while Eliza had a prenatal appointment and Max was at work. My heart pounded as I dropped Lucas off down the block the next morning. He gave me a hard kiss. See you soon with the evidence to bury them for good. An hour later, his blunt text came through. Got it? Relief flooded through me, followed swiftly by adrenaline as I realized this was really happening. After today, Eliza and Max's facade would come crashing down for good. I was thrumming with nervous energy when Lucas climbed back into the car, manila envelope tucked carefully under his jacket. Wordlessly, he passed it to me. I opened it with trembling fingers to see Max's financial records, emails with shady contacts, everything we needed to expose the truth. We did it. I breathed. Lucas's eyes mirrored my exhilaration. Let's go end this. Lucas called in a favor from one of his trusted police captains, Mike, to help us take Eliza and Max down. We filled him in and showed him the evidence. His lips got thinner and thinner. These are very dangerous people your family's gotten mixed up with, he said gravely. We laid out a sting operation to catch Eliza and Max red-handed. Tomorrow, when Max went to collect one of his charity deposits, the cops would be waiting. That night I lay awake, heart pounding with anticipation, fear and elation. Lucas soothed me with strong hands, kissing away my tension until I slept. We dropped Lily at my mother's the next morning, so she'd be safe. Lucas, Mike, and a team of undercover cops set off to secretly stake out Eliza and Max's mansion, getting into position. Finally, my phone lit up with a single word from Lucas. Go. Hands trembling, I punched in Eliza's number. She answered with a suspicious, "What?" I took a breath, hiding my nerves. I want to talk. Clear the air if you're open to it. Lucas coached me on how to reel her in. A long pause before Eliza sighed loudly. Fine, just you, though. Come over now if you're coming. She hung up without waiting for a reply. Gotcha. I drove to her mansion, shock nerve electric, rehearsing my lines. The cops' vans were well concealed as I walked up and knocked sharply. Eliza opened the door, belly rounded. She eyed me warily. Well, you wanted to talk, so talk. I cleared my throat. I'm sorry about how things went down. The shower, me accusing you. I should have talked privately first. Lucas said laying it on thick was crucial. Eliza looked slightly mollified. She stepped aside in wordless invitation. I hid a triumphant smile as I walked inside, blood roaring in my ears. She took the bait. Your move, Lucas. We sat across from each other in the living room I'd helped decorate, once upon a time. Before Eliza ruined everything. I took a deep breath. I need to know one thing. The money, where does it actually come from? I asked bluntly. I won't judge. I just want the truth. Come on, Eliza. Trust me, just this once. Eliza shifted with a mix of nerves and defiance. When she finally spoke, her voice came out strained. If you must know, Max has been doing some consulting work for some very influential people overseas. Code words spilled from her lips. Overseas clients, charity projects, consulting fees. With each damning phrase, my heart pounded harder. We had her. I hid a smile and leaned forward, the picture of understanding. I'm glad Max found new work. We all do what we must. I patted her hand, ignoring her surprise. Now, can I please use your bathroom? I walked steadily through the mansion as if I still knew its halls by heart, right to the home office where I knew the cops were lying in wait. Eliza followed, suspicion creeping into her voice. Why this bathroom? Mine is closer. I paused outside the office, bracing myself. You'll see in just a moment. Then I shoved the door open to utter chaos within. Police! Get down, now! Everything erupted at once. Police swarming a stunned Max by his computer, Eliza shrieking as an officer arrested her, Lucas striding out to grip me in a fierce hug. "You did wonderfully, love," he murmured proudly before going to coordinate with Mike. I watched, knees weak, as Max and Eliza were dragged away in handcuffs, their wealth and status no match for true justice. In the aftermath, Lucas and I gave our statements, handing over the evidence that sealed the guilty verdict at their trial. Fraud, money laundering, racketeering. Eliza screamed venom at me until the end, while Max just glared silently. The judge showed no leniency, sentencing them both to 10 years behind bars. I held my head high as Eliza was led away, her baby bump and diamond rings no shelter from cold steel cuffs. She'd lost everything, her mansion sold off, bank accounts frozen, high society friends abandoning her. Exactly as she deserved. Lucas wrapped an arm around me as we left the courthouse, flashes going off around us. "How do you feel, love?" I took a deep breath of the crisp air, feeling freer than I had in years. "It's finally over. She can't hurt me or anyone else again." I smiled up at my husband, my champion. "We won." He pulled me into a fiery kiss before tucking me under his arm. "Now, I believe a celebration is in order. Lily's waiting." That night after Lily was asleep, Lucas popped open a bottle of champagne. As we cuddled together sipping bubbly, he raised his glass. "To new beginnings. Now your future is wide open, without toxic ties dragging you down. We can start fresh, the three of us." I clinked his glass gently. The coming years unfurled before me, peaceful and bright. I can finally close that dark chapter for good. Eliza wanted my life. Now she can live with the consequences of her greed. I shook my head ruefully. I almost feel sorry for her baby. Don't waste pity on them. Lucas lifted my knuckles to his lips. The only ones who deserve your energy now are Lily and I. Laying in his arms later that night, I sent out a silent thanks to whoever decided to make this wonderful man my soulmate, for guiding me through the darkness back into the light. Now the future held nothing but hope and joy with my little family beside me. I snuggled deeper into Lucas's embrace with a smile. After years of anguish, I could finally sleep easy. The past was nothing but dust. Ahead lay only bright skies.